Okay, hey everybody, it's Weather for Weather Geeks here on this Thursday evening. It is May the 30th, almost done with meteorological spring and the month of May. And what a week it's been. It's been, honestly, a pretty lousy week weather-wise, and today wasn't great. It didn't rain all day, but we did have some downpours that came and went as expected. The rainfall totals today were nothing crazy, but we had one band of thunderstorms that moved through right after the 6 o'clock news this evening. I went on Facebook Live for a while because of this. This did not produce severe weather here locally. Thankfully, this weekend some as it headed through the area, but it did bring a brief gust of wind and some downpours during the 6 o'clock hour and the 7 o'clock hour as well. Last 24-hour rainfall totals have actually been a little bit higher in our northern areas. Northern areas kind of missed the boat yesterday and even the day before, relatively speaking. But today, some of the higher amounts were up in Trumbull County. Some rainfall estimated radar estimated rainfall totals here of an inch to an inch and a half. Warren to Howland to Cortland over towards Vienna and Hartford as well. The 224 corridor had some rain, but not much today. And then the other maxima on the radar estimated totals here down in Columbiana County, about a half an inch in some spots, a little more than that in some locations. And over in Mercer County, we also had some localized downpours over the last 24 hours that brought some local 1 inch to 1 inch plus, maybe an inch and a half to some locations. All right, dew points are still elevated this evening as of us a little before 8 o'clock. We have dew points around 60, but look at this air mass to our north. I mean, that's a 19-degree dew point in Marquette, Michigan. Now, that's an anomaly. Most of our dew points up there are in the 40s, but those dew points are coming our way for tomorrow. It's going to feel pretty nice. All right, we're just about done with meteorological spring. I wanted to do a quick review of the springtime rains across the broader region, and then focused a little more closer to home here. When we look at the broad view of things, spring very, very wet just about everywhere compared to the average. These are rainfall totals, so the legend's up at the top. So locally, we're kind of in this color here, an average of about 10 to 12 inches worth of rain this spring. At the Youngstown Warren Airport, we'll finish spring about an inch ahead of average. Amounts were a lot higher in southwest Ohio and back towards the Mississippi and Missouri valleys. When we zoom in closer to home, everything looks pretty uniform here, but because of what's happened this week, the 224 corridor definitely will end up on top for springtime rains. Places such as Boardman, Poland, Canfield, that general zone, a lot of 15-inch plus amounts for the spring season in that area. For the rest of us, about 10, 11, 12 inches. Now, most of those amounts are above average. It's been a wet spring, yes. Now, has it been a record wet spring? Absolutely not. And the departures from average outside of the 224 corridor really aren't super high. But we've had a lot of wet days this spring, a lot of days in which it has rained at least a little bit, giving it kind of a flavor of being very, very wet in the spring season, even though the amounts outside of the flooding zone this week have not been super high. All right, told you I'd do a summer forecast, and actually, when I was looking over the data and making my forecast, I couldn't disagree with what the Climate Prediction Center put out for their summer forecast, so I'm just going to post theirs because I can't argue with it. It looks like a pretty wet summer, just like a wet spring, out across the middle of the country. Now, you'll notice we're in kind of this pale green here, meaning certainly odds are not tilting in favor of it being a dry summer. Odds are also not real strong that it's going to be a crazy wet summer either. So we're kind of in that lower end chance of a wetter than average summer for June, July, and August. Temperature-wise, the strongest odds of a cool summer will be where it may be pretty wet out across the Midwest. Also, the West Coast should be pretty warm. The East Coast pretty warm. Odds on the lower end, but still, reasonable, that we'll have a warmer than average summer around here. To me, it does not look like a super hot summer. It does not look like a super wet summer. But a somewhat warm and somewhat wet summer seems to be where the odds are at right now. Meteorological summer is June, July, and August, and average highs, of course, peak in summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. We will see our peak average highs, as always, in early July. That's climatology. A lot of times our hottest weather season waits till September. But as far as the climatological averages, they peak at 82 degrees here in our area during the first half and really first two-thirds of July. They really don't start slipping again till the very end of July. In August, it's a very slow slide. The really bigger slide in the averages, of course, occurs once meteorological fall rolls around in the month of September. All right, back here as we wrap up spring and head into summer. Much better day coming up for tomorrow. Some clouds maybe first thing in the morning, but it'll be a generally sunny afternoon. Now, interesting, and I posted this on Twitter earlier today. The sky may be a little hazy tomorrow afternoon. Big time wildfires up in western Canada. A lot of smoke in the air today in the upper Midwest, and some of this is going to try to drift down here and be visible tomorrow. So while I'm not expecting many clouds tomorrow afternoon, maybe a haze in the air with that very high altitude wildfire smoke. But otherwise, beautiful day tomorrow, lower dew points, and sunshine. All right, we have a weak front heading our way Saturday, but even though it's weak, it'll probably be enough to trigger off a few rounds of showers and thunderstorms, maybe even some small hail in some of these thunderstorms Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. A damp start to the day Sunday, but I do think that Sunday afternoon will start drying out, and boy, it's going to be very comfortable Sunday afternoon into early next week. Right now, the Storm Prediction Center does not have us in a severe thunderstorm risk for Saturday. I'm not going to be surprised if when the Day 2 outlook is issued late tonight, if a low-end risk is placed somewhere in here. I don't think it'll be a higher risk than that, but a low-end risk, I'm not going to be surprised if that occurs. So something to keep in mind if you have outdoor plans this weekend. Saturday afternoon could be a little bit bumpy, but I'll tell you, looks really nice Sunday afternoon and cool but nice early next week. I'm going to show you the long-range European modeling here, temperature anomalies, and here comes this shot of cooler air for early next week. Look at these purples showing up across the upper Midwest and across the Great Lakes and Northeast. You know, I've got 65 for a high on Monday. That might even be a little optimistic. I could see we're at 63 or 64, and that's despite a fair amount of sunshine. So, yeah, a little chill in the air early next week. Now, beyond that, I think it'll be a little more seasonable and even going a little bit above average later next week. But as I roll this forward, the one thing you'll notice is, while it doesn't look like a crazy chilly pattern, overall, this is not an impressive looking pattern for heat. I don't think we're going to see a 90 through the first at least 10 days of June. That seems pretty unlikely at this point. So that'll help us out on our energy bills, that the air conditioners will not be cranking at full capacity during the first stage of June. Anyway, all right, that's going to be it for tonight's weather for Weather Geeks. And this is the last weather for Weather Geeks until well into June, because I have the next 10 days off. My vacation starts tomorrow and runs through the following Sunday. I'll be back the following Monday. I think it's the 9th or something. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you for watching Weather for Weather Geeks during a very busy week this week. And as always, even when the weather is quiet, we try to find some fun things to look at in this video. I'll be back in about 10 days, and I'll have some more updates on social media this evening and a full update on our weekend forecast tonight on 21 News at 11. Again, thank you for watching, and have a great Thursday night.